I don't love it.
Hello there, friends. It's your boy, here with another, yes that's right, another episode of All the Mods. And I'd like to start this episode out by admitting I am a complete sucker for renewable energy, especially plant power. So that's the goal of this episode, get some plant power going. I've been on those coal generators for too long, they're bad for my health, the fumes, the touching the coal, my hands are always black. So I want to get some plants going. I want that green thumb. And I want to make a little area over here to grow some crops. And to do that, I want to make some structures, but I want to build kind of high vertically. And to aid in my vertical building, I want to make a jetpack. And also I've never done anything with mechanism, so I thought I would make a mechanism jetpack. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to kind of craft up a bunch of the mechanism items is a metallurgic infuser. So craft that up, and I already made a little space over here. I expanded a bit. This is going to be my little mechanism area for now. So we'll just pop that there. And I already ran cable here because I am a master of all things preparedness. Let's go and hook that up. And this metallurgic infuser will infuse metals metallurgically. So let's just put in like a lot. 18 seems good. And then let's put in 18 iron. So 1 redstone in this little buffer area and 1 iron will infuse up into some enriched alloy. And while that's doing its thing, we can go ahead and come over here and start making a bit of fused quartz. Alright, so we got enough enriched alloy for now, and we can listen to the calming hum of the metallurgic infuser. Thanks, mechanism. So for the mechanism jetpack to run, we need to fill it with oxygen. So we need a machine to take water and split it up into hydrogen and oxygen. And that machine would be the electrolytic separator. So we need an electrolytic core, and I do have the materials for that. And then we can make the separator. We'll pop that there. Now we can input water from any of the sides, but it will only output hydrogen on the left side and oxygen on the right side. So we're going to make a couple tanks to store that stuff. And we're going to make the mechanism tanks because they're pretty good and they're pretty cheap. So we're going to make a couple. We're actually going to make 3 basic tanks, and then we are going to make 2 advanced tanks. And I think advanced is probably the highest I'm going to go because reinforced alloy is something I don't really want to make right now. No, that's okay. Alright, so we got the second advanced gas tank, and so we'll just plop those down right there and right there. So we're not done with this metallurgic infuser. Oh no, not even close. We get to keep listening to this baby purr. So if we pop in some osmium and redstone this time, we're going to get this basic control circuit. And then if we pop either charcoal or coal in here, I'm going to pop charcoal in because it gives you more carbon. Coal will only give you 10 carbon per piece of coal you put in there. And then we just put in a bit of iron. We're going to get a bunch of this enriched iron. Now then we put the enriched iron back into the infuser. So to get the enriched iron we needed 10 carbon, then to get the steel dust we're about to get we need another 10 carbon. So 20 carbon, or 2 coal, or 1 charcoal, and 1 piece of iron will get you 1 steel dust. Are you confused yet? Oh, and there's an eerie silence in the room, so you know the metallurgic infuser's done. I also smelted up the steel already. So now we can finally, I think, craft the jetpack. Oh, actually, no, we can't. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, we can. So let's get that jetpack. And let's get some oxygen in this baby. And for now, just the first bucket I'm going to pop in there manually. Just pop it in there. And that'll split it up in our gases are going into their respective tanks. 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, H2O, baby. Taking you to chemistry class. Ignore everything I've said up to this point. The jetpack takes hydrogen and not oxygen. I thought it was oxygen. Anyways, we can fly now. And it makes sweet particle effects. Wow! So we can press N or we can change the mode. And in true mechanism fashion, there's a sound effect for it. Alright, so hover mode will let us do pretty much creative flight, but it's going to drain constantly. So this is amazing and all, but the problem with this electrolytic separator right now is that it takes 160 RF per tick, which is absolutely insane. I don't got the power for that. But there is another generator we can make to essentially just mitigate the power that this thing uses up, it'll cancel it out pretty much. So let's make that right now. Alright, so we're gonna make the gas burning generator. So we got enough steel to make these steel casings, and we also need another one of these electrolytic cores, which I need the dust for actually. Alright, so we got the dust, and now we can make this core, and then we can make the actual generator. Alright, so you gotta place this thing pretty particularly. The energy only comes out one side. It comes out the green side, so you gotta place it kind of backwards there. Alright, so let's also configure the outputs to this tank and make it so that the bottom is an output. Alright, so now if we put a bucket of water in here, the hydrogen will go into this tank and then straight into this gas burning generator, and listen to that baby purr! So this gas burning generator creates 160 RF per tick, and this thing uses up 160 RF per tick, so we should have a net gain / loss of just 0. It should just cancel out. So the last thing we really need to do to get this fully automated is just get a way to shove water into this separator, and to do that we're just going to use reservoirs. And that's what we made the fused quartz for. I should have enough. Perfect. So we made 6 reservoirs, and these things essentially act as an infinite water source. So if we grab some water, oh god, it's dark. And we place some at the top. Gotta move this. Oh crap! Crap! I thought I was breaking it. I was like, why does it take it so long to break a tool station? It's made of wood, man. Okay, I don't have enough stuff to make another one. I was gonna put an infinite water source there, but that'll have to wait here. Just put that there in remembrance. The reservoir is just gonna go back here. And then if we put another bucket of water in there, it'll create an infinite water source in the middle here. And so that means if we just hook up a fluid conduit right there and set this to extract always active. Oh buddy, you hear that sound? And it looks like we can charge our jetpack even when this is taking in hydrogen. So awesome, we got a jetpack system and all the fuel is pretty much automated. Oh, and also this fall damage thing is pretty annoying, so I think I'm just going to make some slime boots from Tinker's Construct. The mechanism has free runners which negate all fall damage and use RF, but these don't cost anything and work just as well, I think. They should negate fall damage, and they make me bounce. Alright, so I'm gonna get to building the structures over here, and I'll be back once those are Oakley dokley. So it's been quite a while, and I have made some progress. So we got a path, and we got a windmill. Yeah, I kind of went a little overboard on this whole thing. I decided we needed paths. I decided we needed walls and waterfalls and little garden areas, and I made another little house here. And we also have areas for farming, and this is going to be kind of my farming area, I guess. This jetpack was actually really nice for building the windmill. I was able to just get up to the top like it was nothing. I tried to make it hobbity, but I don't know how hobbit windmills are supposed to look, so I just guessed. So yeah, now it's, I think, about time we actually get to farming some stuff. And right here we're going to farm canola, because we're going to be using canola for our power. But this canola is not the only stuff we're going to need. We're also going to need a bunch of wood, so I'm going to chop down a redwood tree. We're going to need a bit of quartz, and we're going to need a bunch of steel. So I'm just going to cook that up in the metallurgic infuser. So I got the stuff we're going to need to get the farming set up. And to automatically farm, we're going to be using progressive automation. So we're going to be making the planter, because it plants things and it harvests things. It's pretty crazy. So the thing with progressive automation is that you need the first tier, so the wooden tier, to get the stone tier, and then the stone tier to get the iron tier, and so on and so forth. Now, the difference between the tiers isn't that massive, especially for the planter. The only difference is how fast it harvests. So I'm actually just going to stick with the stone planter. I think the iron planter is kind of overkill, I don't know. Okay, so I've already marked out where I want the planter to go, right here. So you put it 1 block below the surface, and we're going to need a little access tunnel. So the planter does take a few inputs to actually work. So you need a fuel source, a hoe, and the seeds you want to plant. So the type of hoe you use depends on the type of planter you actually have. So the iron planter can use iron hose, the diamond planter can use diamond hose, but you can also downgrade the hoe, so an iron planter can use a stone hoe. And every time this harvests the crop, it's going to use 1 durability from the hoe, so you do have to keep supplying it with hose. But as you can see, this thing only planted 1 canola plant, which is, I mean, that's kind of lame. So we need to give this some range upgrades. And to make those upgrades is pretty simple. Alright, so of course, it's progressive automation, so you gotta get the wooden upgrades to get the stone upgrades. So now, whenever we put the stone upgrades in, it's automatically gonna hoe all that land. I think till is the actual verb. It's gonna till all that land and plant all the seeds. Just like that. We can see that the range is 25, and so that means it's going to plant 25 crops, so I have a 5x5 area. Alright, so now we got this automated canola set up. This is going to harvest canola, it's going to keep it in its internal buffer, it's going to do its thing. But now we need a way to actually process the canola, and of course we're going to use action additions for that. Okay, so we are going to need a bit more Restonia and Inori crystal. I don't know how much, I'm just going to make a ton. So the first step in processing the canola is to get a canola press. So we're going to need a coil, and then we have to make that an advanced coil, and then we should, if we just grab some canola, be able to make that. Alright, so the canola press is going to give us some liquid, I actually don't know what it's called, but we have to ferment that liquid in order to get oil. We're going to make a fermenting barrel. We're going to get 3 of those, I think is a good number for now. And then finally, once the fermenting barrel gives us oil, we have to put it in an oil generator to actually get RF. Yeah, I'm going to make 3 oil generators as well. Let's run over and we can set these up really quick. Alright, so the next thing we need to take care of is storing the liquid. I do want a buffer, just because I like having buffers. So we're going to make a mechanism dynamic tank. So I don't know how many we're actually going to need, so I'm just going to make a few and then figure out how much we need, and then I'll make more to make a second tank because we do have 2 liquids we need to store. Alright, so we're also going to make some structured glass so we can see into our tanks, and then we need a basic control circuit to make the valves. Alright, so I'm just going to set these tanks up in the floor. Seems like as good a place as any. So the smallest you can make these tanks is a 3x3x3, so that's exactly what we're going to do because I'm not expecting too much buffer. So all the edge blocks have to be dynamic tank blocks, but on the inside that's where we can put our valves and we can put our structure glass to see inside. And then once we place the structural glass, yep, we should see the redstone kind of particles pop up. And then we can right click and here is our tank. Now the thing with these tanks is, I don't know why, but you can only right click these things if you have an item in your hand. If you don't have an item in your hand, you just can't right click them. Alright, so while the rest of our steel is infusing up, we should take care of how we're going to get items from the planter up to that little house. So we don't have enough ender pearls to do ender IO, and transfer nodes from extra utilities are just really slow. So I'm thinking the best way to do it would just be to do it wirelessly. So Actually Additions adds item laser relays. So first we need energy laser relays, and then we can make those into item laser relays. We're going to turn one of these relays into an advanced item relay, and you'll see why in a second. And then of course we have to tell these lasers to hook up to each other, so we need a laser wrench for that. Alright, so let's go out and start hooking up our lasers a bit here. So the first laser we're going to place is of course down by the planter, and so we're going to place a hopper to take the items out of the planter. And you'd think we just place a laser right next to the hopper to take out of it, but that's not how these lasers work. In order to input items into the lasers, we need another block, and that block would be the item interface. So what happens is you pump items into the interface, so that's what the hopper does. It's just going to put items into this block, and then the laser will grab only out of the interface. Alright, so we got a laser there. Let's go place another laser. And this laser is going to go in the ground, I think right here seems good enough. So we're going to place that there. We're going to have a little storage container on top of that. But right now we need to link these lasers together. So all you got to do is shift right click on one laser, it'll store that. And you just shift right click on the other laser. And it says they're connected, and you can see a bit of particles. It links the 2 lasers with particles, but it's going to the ground so you can't really see them. Alright, so I made a storage crate that we can put on top of this laser, and so, yeah. Everything inside of the planter is just going to go into this crate for now, but we don't want the canola to go into this storage crate, we want it to go into this canola press. I made the storage crate to hold all the seeds that we're gonna get. So now the next task is to hook up a laser to get the canola into this press. And so I'm gonna do a kind of a temporary setup right now. I'm gonna place the canola press there, and then up here we're gonna place the laser, and it's gonna go into a storage crate. Alright, so we're gonna place the advanced item laser relay there, and we're gonna have to hook up these two relays. Alright, now the good thing about these advanced item laser relays is that they have an item filter. So inbound, we want to whitelist canola, so only canola is going to go into the storage crate, and therefore only canola will go into the canola press. Alright, so now we can place our storage crate here, and I went ahead and made some transfer nodes from extra utilities, which I left in my chest. But right now, it kind of seems like logically this wouldn't work, because if this planter is connected to this laser, and then this laser is connected to that laser, it would place the canola in this crate first. But the advanced item relays will always have priority over basic item relays. So no matter what, it's going to check if it can put stuff into this chest before it puts it into this one. So yep, it's not going into this one because this item relay is taking priority over this one, because this one is advanced and this one's basic. Alright, so we got all of the tanks and machines hooked up here. So what's going to happen is the canola will go into this canola press. That canola press will output into this tank. Then this tank will put into these fermenting barrels. It will get fermented up, and then it will go into this tank. Then it will go into the oil generators, because these fermenting barrels give us oil. This canola press does take RF to run, so I went ahead and hooked up some cable. Alright, now that this is working decently well, our next problem is getting this power over to our capacitor bank in our main house. And to do that, we're first going to have to do some Botania. So I am going to make a little Botania area right over here. Hopefully it won't take me that long, and then we'll get started on that. Oakley dokley. So I may have gotten a little carried away again. So I extended the path out here. It looks nice, I think, and then I built a cave. Yeah, so this is where, like, Botania, like the Runa Galter and stuff is gonna go. But anyways, let's actually get started with Botania. First thing we need to do is we need to punch some flowers. Of course, we can make the flower pouch so we don't have to carry all these in our inventory. We can put them in our pouch. So I will be punching flowers. Oakley dokley, so the flowers have been punched. So anyways, let's get to this Botania stuff. First, we want to make the Lexica Botania Foshizzy. Alright, so there's the in-game documentation, but we're gonna get straight into just kind of speedrunning this, I guess. That's not how you make that. It's like that. We need a petal apothecary, and we're gonna place that down, and that's what a lot of the crafting is in. So first up, the first flower you need to make is the pure daisy. So we're gonna grab a couple white flowers and make those into petals. And a little quick tip quickie, if you just right-click on the ground with a petal, and then bone meal that, you get a tall flower. Then if you have shears and you're prepared, you just shear that, and then you get 4 petals back. So as long as you have bone meal, you can turn a profit on your petals, I suppose, and you don't need to keep going out finding more petals as long as you have 1. But anyways, we're gonna throw 4 of these into the petal apothecary, and then as you can see, it just says throw in a seed, and you get the pure daisy. So we're gonna throw in a seed, and we got the pure daisy. So I'm gonna plop this down here. Now, the pure daisy is going to transform blocks, so if we just surround this with logs, after a while that is going to create living wood, and if you were prepared, you would already have stone in your inventory ready to place around the pure daisy, because when you place stone around the pure daisy, it turns into living rock. Alright, next up on the Botania checklist is the mana generation. So to store the mana we're going to generate, we need a mana pool. So we can place that down somewhere. I don't really know where I want to place it. I'll just place it there. Seems good. And now we need a way to get mana into this little mana pool here. And to do that, we are going to create a mana spreader. So when this mana spreader fills up with enough mana, it's going to send a mana burst into this mana pool, and the mana is going to collect in this pool. Well, actually, it just won't shoot at all because it's got nothing to shoot at. So we need to point it at this mana pool, and to do that, we're going to need a Wand of the Forest. So we take 3 living wood twigs, and then we get some petals. Actually, I'm going to make mine multicolored because I'm a cool cat. So we get the Wand of the Forest, and right now it's in bind mode. So if we shift right click on the mana spreader, then right click on the, or shift right click on the mana pool, it will point right at it. And now our mana bursts are going to go right to the mana pool. Alright, so now we have to actually get mana into this mana spreader. So we have to make mana generating flowers. And you only have two options to start with, and that is the Daybloom or the Nightshade. One of them generates mana using solar power, one uses the dark, but I have not found any purple or black flowers, so I only have one option, and that is the Daybloom. So it is 2 yellow, 1 light blue, and 1 orange, plus a seed gives you a Daybloom. So this Daybloom is going to start generating mana, and it's going to go straight into this mana spreader. There is, I promise you, a green bar on that mana spreader bar. I swear, oh there it goes, just went up a little bit. These things are painfully slow. Alright, just made a few more of these Dayblooms because you do need more than one, that is for sure. So once this bar gets high enough, it shoots out a mana burst and the mana goes into this mana pool. But yeah, these flowers suck. Like, they're really bad, so we need to upgrade as soon as possible. Also, these flowers are considered passive flowers because they don't use up any resources to generate mana, and so that means in a certain amount of time, they all just turn into dead bushes, so you can't even use these long term anyways. So the next tier up is the actively generating flowers, active generation flowers, and kind of the first tier of that are the Endoflames. Now to get Endoflames, we are going to have to get some mana powder, which is just gotten by throwing any sort of powder, gunpowder, redstone, I guess glowstone would probably work, into a mana pool, gives you mana powder. So if we throw the red, light gray, 2 brown, the mana powder, and a seed, we get an Endoflame. So these Endoflames will take any sort of fuel source, solid fuel source, and we'll turn it into mana. So if I just throw 4 coal on there, that'll start generating a bunch of mana. And now you can see this mana spreader filling up a lot faster. Alright, this is wonderful, we get a lot more mana this way, but it is annoying having to come over and toss coal on this all the time. Of course I could just keep tossing it on and it would eat it eventually, but I do want a way to do this automatically. And luckily, Actual Additions has the answer. So we're going to make a automatic precision dropper. And so I'm going to need a bit of Palace, which is lapis, that has been atomically reconstructed. Alright, so we place the dropper facing upwards, and we'll have it on redstone mode deactivation, which is perfect. So if we put items in here, it's automatically going to shoot them out. If we put in a bunch of coal, it'll shoot it out. And once the pressure plate activates, it's going to turn on that redstone, causing the dropper to not drop anymore. And so it'll only keep dropping coal whenever a flower actually needs it. Alright, but I did say I wanted to do Botania so we can transfer RF power. So let's actually get to that part now. So we needed the blaze rods so we can make a couple brewing stands. And then we're also going to need a mana pearl, so I'm just going to dunk this pearl in some mana. And now we should be able to make an alchemy catalyst. This alchemy catalyst is going to let us transform a lot of items into different items that we weren't able to before with just the default mana pool. Now the one I'm mainly interested in is transforming quartz into prismarine. So we just throw that in there, and we got 6 prismarine shards. So we're going to use the prismarine to make some RF Tools power cells. These power cells are a way to wirelessly transfer RF, but we need to link them together so they know to share their power. And we do that just by making some power cards. As you'll see, this power cell is essentially just a capacitor bank. So I will set this power cell to output, and we have to put a power cell card into the power cell, and that should, I have to take it out and then it gets its ID. And now we can put our other power cell cards in this little link slot, and it will also link that to ID 1. Alright, so let's set the one in this little place up now. Just get through the door. So we're going to place the power cell right here, and we can configure the sides that this inputs and outputs from by just right-clicking with a wrench. So we want it to input from this side where the generators are coming from, and we want it to output from this side so it outputs into this canola press. Alright, so now that we have this power card in there, we can run over to the other base. We see this buffer filling up because the generators are filling it up. So now if we look in this power cell, we can see the buffer also filling up. So essentially what's happening is that because both of those power cells have the same power card, they are sharing this internal buffer right here. Alright, now that we got this power hooked up and moving in between our houses, we should go ahead and get this planter situation sorted, because right now all the canola's grown, but it can't harvest it because it doesn't have any fuel. So to remedy that, we're going to make a RF engine upgrade for the progressive automation machines, and this just basically makes the machine use RF instead of coal. So this extra power cell, this is exactly where it's going to go. We'll set all of it to output, and we'll put the power card in, so that'll start draining. And this RF engine is full now, so it should have harvested all the canola. Perfect. Alright, but this hoe is eventually going to run out. I mean, it's already broken already. So what we can do is we can make an RF Tools crafter. And the cool thing about these crafters is that they can remember multiple recipes and then use those recipes in other recipes. You'll see. So tier 1 can remember up to 2 recipes, but we want tier 2 so we can get up to 4 recipes. So let's place this right next to the power source. That'll fill up with RF. Alright, so here are all the items that we're going to be using. So we're just going to tell this to remember all these items. So now there'll be ghost items, and it won't try and put anything else in there that doesn't belong. So all we gotta do to add recipes is double click and put what recipe we want in there. So we're gonna put logs into planks, and we want to make sure that the results of this crafting operation stay in the internal buffer, the input buffer here. So let's hit apply. And now if we put in some logs, we're gonna get planks automatically crafted up. So the next recipe, we want sticks, and we're going to set that to internal. And then the third recipe we want is sticks and cobblestone into hose, and we want this to go to the external buffer because we're going to be exporting the hose into the planter. Alright, so these transfer nodes don't go directly into these progressive automation machines, so we're going to put a hopper next to it and then just put the hose into the hopper, and then yeah, that works just fine. So the crafter should still be doing its thing, and all we have to do is just supply this crafter with stone and logs and it'll do the rest. But unfortunately, I completely lost track of time when I was making this episode. I recorded enough to make like a 45-minute episode, and I decided that probably wasn't what I wanted to do. So I'm going to split this one up, and in the next one, we are going to automate the log and cobblestone production so we can get that canola power completely set up. But I would also like to take the time to say thank you all so much for the wonderful support you gave me on the first episode. That video is probably the most well-received video I've ever made, so I really do appreciate it. Also, I'd like to say that I made a Twitter account, which I don't know if I'm going to use, but follow me on Twitter, I guess. And you guys are champions if you made it this far, and you're champions if you watch my videos. So I will see you guys in the next one, where we will continue on with the rest of this episode. Goodbye.
Matter of fact, you should take 4B.